Well, we got a Baldywood, a tag team Baldywood coming up with the Sopranos movie. So we'll get into that.
The Many Saints of Newark.
Yes, sir.
Tearing the nation apart. I also had, I was thinking about you guys doing this movie, and then I had this thought about another movie from 1978 starring Billy Crystal. But I heard this article, and Dawson's got it, and it kind of made me think of this movie from 43 years ago now. But I'll let Dawson do the first paragraph of the article, and then we can go back in time and see just how far ahead of time we were, much like the Love Boat, I should say, episode where Mackenzie Phillips was transgendered.
That's right.
Or transsexual or whatever the hell. All right, go ahead.
Can men get pregnant? Yes, it's possible for men to become pregnant and give birth to children of their own. In fact, it's probably a lot more common than you might think.
Now, hold on.
It must be.
That's definitely true, because I did not think it was something that, 4 out of 10 Americans engaged in. So it's definitely more common than any human being that has been born ever, especially before the last 20 minutes, ever thought.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
In order to explain, we'll need to break down some common misconceptions about how we understand the term man.
Are we allowed to say misconception anymore? It's got conceive and woman connected.
And it means wrong.
Yes, a woman, a fallopian tubing, a bleeding,
birthing person?
No, there's the birthing person, and then there's also the menstruating person as well. Yes. Jesus Christ.
Well, in order to break down the common misconceptions about how we understand the term man, we're going to have to change the definition of the term man.
Okay. Well, can we do that with spatulas? Like, what else shall we do that with? You know what I mean? Like, you guys, like windmills. A lot of misconceptions.
Totally new meaning.
We got to break it down. We'll call them salt shakers now. Okay. I feel like that holds true for NFL franchises. You thought of us the Dallas Cowboys?
Nope, it's a game of musical chairs.
We'll just call it something else.
Great.
Got to break it down. It's a common misconception.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not all people who were assigned male at birth identify as men. Mm-hmm. Those who do are cisgender men.
This is 1978?
No.
No.
Oh.
No, the movie's coming from 1970.
So that's remarkably prescient.
Right.
If this came out, well, first off, the person who wrote it would have been burned as a heretic, like in 1978. It's a Billy Crystal movie that this reminded me of.
Conversely, some people who were assigned female at birth identify as men.
Who assigns gender? I don't know if I like the way that sounds either.
Doctors playing God.
Right.
Playing God? Who did the gender assigning here?
These folks may be transgender men or transmasculine people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hadn't heard that one.
Transmasculine. Mm-hmm.
Transmasculine is used to describe an assigned female at birth individual who identifies or presents toward the masculine side of the spectrum.
Okay.
All right. Look, again, just take over the language and then do whatever you want with the science. Once you got the language, then you just do. It's a commonly, it's misunderstood or wrongly labeled or whatever it is, and then you just go run. I wrote a book called "In 50 Years We'll All Be Chicks" for a reason, but this article made me think about this movie. Now, I was mistaken. I thought this movie starred Burt Reynolds. But it doesn't star Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds had another movie from about the same time where he was looking for a surrogate.
Okay.
Which was, a little ahead of its time, 40 years, looking for a surrogate.
A non-traditional setup.
Probably like Dom DeLuise was in this one. But later on, and that was called Paternity, 1981. But this one was called The Rabbit Test.
No kidding.
And had Billy Crystal.
Vaguely familiar, but no.
No.
Billy Crystal.
Oh, my God.
And Joan Rivers.
Oh, Where do you buy maternity jockey shorts? Is the poster question.
And look at Billy Crystal.
This is crazy. So wait, is this hot off of his soap or whatever?
He played the gay one from Soap.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So
Robert
maybe they thought, there's a higher likelihood of a gay man getting pregnant.
Wow.
I guess technically, if the guy doesn't pull out.
Sure.
He's getting pumped by a guy, after all.
Yeah. So, and I said to Chris, first off, this thing seemed like somebody just made it on their computer, right? this poster, rabbit test.
And it says, the story of the world's first pregnant man, it's inconceivably funny.
There you go.
Good.
And what does her shirt say?
Director person.
Yeah,
What
this
is
this is the only directing effort by Joan Rivers. She also plays a nurse in a brief scene written and directed by her.
Oh.
The log line is Lionel's life turns around after a one-night stand on top of a pinball table. He becomes the world's first pregnant
wasn't that
man.
The Accused?
Yeah, I was going to say,
I think this movie's been made. It's very traumatic.
Look, I don't care how horny you are. Waterbed's tough enough.
Yeah.
Pinball. Good
luck.
That's rough.
Tilt.
Wait, so is this one of those things where the pinball machine gets him pregnant?
Sentient.
Seriously.
I don't know. I know if lightning strikes a pinball machine, then the pinball machine would anything lightning struck back in the day would have cosmic powers beyond our knowing.
Lightning had the ability to switch bodies to make inanimate objects sentient. Yeah, there are a whole bunch of things that lightning could do.
Yeah, I think in Liar Liar there was some. I think what's his name got Jim Carrey got struck by lightning.
No,
or some,
there was definitely like a Christmas breeze that he made a wish on.
His kid was wishing at a birthday party.
Let's not forget that speaking of transgender people, Mel Gibson got the powers to hear all women by getting electrocuted by his hairdryer.
Oh, that's
what women want.
That's right.
So do we have, I told Chrissy, can you find the trailer? By the way, this rarely gets brought up when we talk about the genius of Joan Rivers.
Rarely.
Right. Because I think it kind of competes with the genius of Joan Rivers because she wrote it and directed it.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll play her. She's sitting in an edit bay, but it's kind of theatrical looking edit bay.
Hi, I'm Joan Rivers, and I'm here editing my movie Rabbit Test. I just love editing because you can control your film and develop your bust at the same time. Want to see some scenes? Take a look, Sailor.
Why don't I just finish this cigarette and,
Billy Crystal.
we'll go inside.
Rabbit Test is a movie about an innocent man's first love.
Come here.
It's got an inflatable doll. Inflatable doll. Hit with a cigarette.
You really know how to turn a guy off, Jackie.
And his reactions to everyday situations.
Nice talking to you.
We'll meet his sensitive and understanding mother.
Are you a fairy?
His own pastor.
I'm Jewish. Can I still go in?
Oh, sure.
Just don't
Mrs. Garrett.
And his friends.
May I go to the bathroom? Dougie? It's been very nice meeting all of you.
Go now! Oh, by the way, Rabbit Test is a movie about the world's first pregnant man.
You're pregnant!
Oh, my.
Hold on.
Stop the tape.
We didn't know there was some blackface going on.
We're
in
not
there.
talking about, Megan, what's her name? Megan Kelly doing Whitney Houston or whoever she went, Diana Ross. This is old school blackface.
That was a minstrel show.
This is a minstrel show.
I think, for me, the Mason-Dixon line can't be when the shoe polish comes out because I did Mr. T.
Yeah.
It's when the white shoe polish comes
Yeah.
out and you
Through
go
the
around your lips
Which
with
is what
it.
we just witnessed.
What was that?
How could that have...
Timely, 1978.
Well, and what could that possibly have had to do with this movie? You've never
We're going to
seen-
have to watch
Wait,
the movie to find out.
you've never actually
It's
seen
not
this
on heavy
movie.
rotation on Netflix. I don't know if you got the memo.
It's you can find it where you can find that the day the clown cried or whatever. With Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, or the dwarf movie with
Tippy Toes.
Tippy Toes.
Oh my God.
By the way, the guy, we'll put this still up on AdamCarolla.com. It is like Jimmy J.J. Walker in full African native garb.
Yeah.
Doing a blackface minstrel thing with what could be Billy Crystal or dwarf. I don't know.
That this is Billy Barty. He's
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is.
You guys don't remember a time when we had one dwarf and one dwarf only.
Yes.
His name was Billy Barty. His daughter was Lori. She was a little person.
Yeah.
She went to North Hollywood High and she went to Walter Reed with me. And her dad was in every Sid and Marty Krofft. Every time they needed anyone under 4 foot, the Billy Barty's phone rang.
Wasn't he one of the Lollipop Guild?
I
think he was.
Probably around long enough. But
wow.
That is
and the problematic afro, too, we found.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, if you're wearing the black man's afro, but you're in blackface.
Oh, boy.
Is that problematic? All right. Sorry. Continue.
Also his gynecologist.
Mr. Mendoza thinks he's
Paul Lynn.
And the President of the United States.
There'll be no trick-or-treating
Dressed as a pig.
Wait, hold it. I can't go on. I have been sitting here trying to tell you about the new picture, and there has been a sicko in the front row the whole time, sitting there with a raincoat on his lap. I cannot work under such conditions. Will somebody please get the usher and this sicky person thrown out? Will you please just get me the usher? Oh, he is the usher. It's kind of cute. Come on, honey, let's go backstage.
It's good.
And bring your big flashlight with you. What the hell?
Breaking the fourth wall.
Rabbit test. Joan, this is surreal, right? Does everyone
Very.
feel
Absolutely.
high?
Streaming for free on YouTube, by the way.
This is, they made, The Godfather and Gone with the Wind before this. You know what I mean? This is not, some things you can kind of, there's certain things in life like, oh, look at that old jalopy. And you go, well, that's before they had air conditioning and they just didn't have, they didn't know about whatever. But this is after all
Taxi
those
Driver came out the year before.
films you love.
This is upsetting.
It's crazy, right?
Yes.
Michael Keaton made his film debut in this
No.
movie. We were just talking about the man.
Nowhere to go but down.
Oh, my God.
Non-speaking role.
Wow. I have so many questions. Oh, and by the way, did you know that someone who plays a fortune-telling grandmother in the movie is Roddy McDowall in drag?
No, but
of course it is.
I shall not be surprised.
Yeah.
Well, it was a big movie. I mean, not a big movie, but it was a major release.
Names, Joan Rivers,
names. It got a full release, pardon the pun.
Should we guess on the Rotten Tomatoes score?
I think we should.
Okay. Imogene Coco's in it.
I mean, if there was ever a candidate for 0.
I'm thinking about it.
Are we writing it down?
I can't believe this didn't launch Joan Rivers' directing career. I can't believe this wasn't a platform that she used to jump off. And she wrote, directed, and sort of starred in it or semi-starred in it?
Appeared in it.
Appeared in it.
Jesus.
All right, Billy Crystal. All right.
I gotta guess.
Well, you may think 0's low.
It is.
But if it's 1 or 2, that means somebody saw it, a credentialed critic, and said, I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, it's better than half bad.
Stand by. There is no critic consensus, so you'll be guessing the audience.
Okay. I might need to add a
All right,
digit.
they're a little more lenient. And I think there could have been some of them who just got really high and just said, I'll give it 1,000. All right.
Skewed the results.
All right, I'm going to write this down.
Mine's down.
With the audience. I mean, it obviously had vaudevillian gags in it. Like Joan Rivers probably clumsily wove in some one-liners and just stupid gags,
I mean, Paul Lynn's in it, for God's sake.
Right. I wonder if my grandfather, who worshipped at the altar of Paul Lynn, ever knew he was gay.
Oh, wow.
Because he thought...
Thank God he died before he found out.
He was the funniest, fastest guy alive.
Sure.
Because he didn't know they fed them all those jokes on Hollywood Squares. 12.
21.
I had 3. I changed it to 13.
Rabbit test is rotten at 25%.
Oh, my God. They loved it.
Not...
But I'm looking at every review that is out there
rating.
for it, and it's all negative, so it probably would have gone to 0.
It didn't make it to. There are reviews out there of it. They just didn't.
They weren't submitted.
Didn't submit to Rotten Tomatoes.
But like, Roger Ebert, New York Times, every variety. It's what Adam said. Just a bunch of throwaway one-liners and gags.
Can we hear what Roger Ebert may have said about this? The late great Roger Ebert in 1978.
He rated the film 1 star out of 4. Said, quote, "It's not a funny movie. It really isn't. It's jammed from wall to wall with eccentric characters and throwaway one-liners and would-be funny signs. But it's just not funny. And I know it's not, because I would have laughed if it had been."
Oh, my God. The Pulitzer Prize winner right there.
Go for the jugular at the end.
Joan, had a lot of pride as a comedian, and this is her directorial
grand opening, grand closing,
and she wrote it. She must have fucking hated reading that shit. All right.
Wow.
There's a story brewing with football coach Urban Myers.
Is it brewing?
Meyer. Oh, it says Myers on the thing. I could go either way. Urban Meyer. And I have thoughts, but also it'll launch into a sort of larger thought. And there's a video I saw on TMZ. He's having to apologize.
He's on an apology tour.
His team.
To his
who's he
fellow
coaching?
Americans.
Who's he coaching?
Is it
Jacksonville?
Didn't he apologize to the whole community?
Yeah, there's vid of him at a bar,
Yeah.
and some blonde chick is kind of rubbing her ass against his lap.
Grinding on him.
He's sitting on a bar stool.
He's kind of getting in there.
I can't feel I'm trying to think if his hands are blocking his groin.
That's what I was wondering.
One could make that argument.
Oh,
is he reaching for her?
He
That
is
was my
right.
question.
He's almost penetrating her.
Oh, is that another angle?
I don't know. I mean,
I was wondering if he was kind of giving her.
There's still an argument that you. Like in soccer when they get the free kick and everyone blocks their groin.
Hold your cup.
Hands kind of turned out at 90. Tough.
He isn't making that argument.
He's not making that argument.
No.
What's
his
his argument?
Nowhere near his groin.
From the moment I saw the video, I thought I was giving her the old Roger Ebert.
One thumb in. I also think this. Couple things. First off, hey, people, you got to film everything and put it up online.
Yes.
You have to just film everything and put it up online. All right. I don't know who those people are.
They're the people who, when somebody is in some catastrophic situation and a car's crushing them, they pull out their phone instead of helping the person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same situation.
Yeah. We can hear him apologize.
I just apologize to the team and staff for being a distraction, just stupid. And so I explained everything that happened and owned it, and just stupid.
Hold on. You don't have to apologize to the skill position guys. They get it.
Oh boy,
they've been there. Mm-hmm. Well, I told you there's a conversation for the guys who dropped the ball before they. Right. Now, when it's time to apologize, now you get the other guys who didn't make the drop the ball meeting. You talk to the big interior line guys, offensive line.
You're saying he's not apologizing to Laviska Chenault and DJ Shark?
No, the guy, more the interior guys who went to BYU. They're a little more family oriented. You know what I mean? The other guys may have a couple of kids from a couple of these situations or encounters. They're not as apt to judge.
I see.
That's what I'm saying. Sorry.
I'd have myself in that kind of position.
Urban, did you fly back with the team, or did you stay in?
No, I stayed to see the grandkids, and we all went to dinner that night at a restaurant. And then there's a big group next to our restaurant, and they wanted me to come over and take pictures, and I did. And they were trying to pull me out on a dance floor, screwing around, and I should have left.
Yeah. So look,
Dan Arnold, get over here. I have something to tell you.
Couple things.
Apologize.
There is a difference. I've been in this position because, people recognize me sometimes. And
but it's all dudes.
Once in a while, a chick will just come sit on your lap and want to take a selfie or something like that. And you're kind of left two choices. Do you push her off? Mm-hmm. Like, do you push her away? And women grow up learning that as a skill. Being hit on, having guys come up to them or whistling as they walk past the construction site. Guys don't have that skill. like the hey, buzz off 35-year-old hottie. Like we don't really have that. But number two,
it's a good looking girl because every day you cling on with both hands.
I don't know if you guys are like me, but when a guy puts himself out there, like when a guy comes up to you at the bar or goes like, hey, I've been watching you, can I buy you a drink? And you go, well, actually, I'm just sort of waiting for a friend, so no thanks. We don't go home and eat a tub of Haagen-Dazs and cry into it. You know what I mean? We don't take that.
What do you do?
Personally. We go to the next bitch.
The next victim?
The next bitchdom. Yeah, we move it on down the bar.
Oh, then I've been way too nice for 20 years.
It's a life of, asking people to the prom, not Brian Bishop.
Oh, my God, why you got to do that?
The point is we're equipped.
Yeah.
We're battle tested.
Yeah.
We know what it's like.
To be rejected.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had that have a fair, even before I was gotten to any kind of celebrity or whatever. I've had a few girls make it clear. Here's what I'd like from you.
Wasn't Margaret Cho one of them?
She was.
Okay.
I had a girl I met at Barney's Beanery who lived in San Diego, and I made my way to San Diego to visit her.
Oh.
And it was not a great weekend for me.
Boy.
And then I went back to North Hollywood, vowing to never see her again. And at some point, she showed up on my doorstep 2 weeks later. And unfortunately, Ray was there.
Oh, Jesus.
And Ray was ushering her in and pushing her into my room and stuff. It feels, I don't know. I mean, I was going to say, Brian, you must have some experience.
Dude, of course.
Chris.
Dude, my whole life is rejection.
Right. But I'm curious, Dawson and Max Zapata, that feeling of saying thanks but no thanks to a woman?
Oh, I thought it went their way around.
It's happened. It's happened to me a lot. And it's really uncomfortable.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Huh. And most of it is...
What's the...
I'm first off, they must feel horrible. Like when a woman offers it up, when a woman is really going, throwing it at you, and you're like, thanks, but
honey,
no,
I'm good.
I'm good. Especially when you're single, it's understood that you're single, or you're at the party hitting on one of their friends or something.
You're taking a gift that they gave you and throwing it on the ground and stepping on it.
Yes, it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
For my wiring, it was just devastating to me to tell this woman, I'm not attracted to you and I do not want whatever it is you're offering up.
What is the latest you've ever pulled the ripcord? How close to the ground before you pulled the chute? Because,
I
can smell the grass.
When I went to San Diego,
today.
Yeah, I want to know this story. But when I went to San Diego and hooked up months later with this gal that somehow had figured out a way to pack on quite a few LBs in a couple of months. Maybe they opened a Barney's Beanery outside of La Jolla or something. I don't know.
Likely.
But I literally showed up at her, I'm coming for the weekend, kind of thing. And then I got there and she answered the door and I was like, oh boy, not into this. And then I was like, oh, so stupid. I was like, oh, I have a stand-up comedy gig back in L.A. I gotta get going.
How foolish of me to let that.
Yeah,
after a 2.5 hour drive.
She knew I had no career. I borrowed my friend's truck to drive out there.
You didn't stay. You didn't stay.
Oh, I stayed because I went. Oh. And I was like, oh, I just remembered I got this gig and I got to get back to L.A., so we got to get a rain check going. And her roommate pulled me aside. And I don't remember her name, so I can say whatever her name is. But she goes, Ann took the day off work tomorrow to be with you. And I was like, oh, fuck, where's the booze? I just started drinking.
Is that bad?
It was rough, but I made it.
Did you give her the good stuff?
I did.
Wow.
I did. Although I don't think I had my good stuff that night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we had a skipper, he would have come in.
Bottom shelf.
Pointed to the bullpen.
Yeah, sure.
But I got through it. I
give it a heater.
I just said,
the golf cart comes out.
I remember I started drinking. That's all. Wow. That's all I remember. But I made my way back to L.A., but she did show up a couple of weeks later. And it was difficult. I know it's difficult because it's seared into my brain. I don't really remember the times women went thanks, but no thanks. That was commonplace. You know what I mean? So it was difficult. So what I'm saying to you go with Urban Meyer, you go, why you push her away or tell her to get away from you or whatever it is. Guys don't really do that. We will weather the storm, so to speak, Bryan, what was your story?
That's what you forget. I have never told this story to anyone, hence why it's not going to be much of a story. Because when you have stories, you have the beats kind of worked out and everything. But as I recall, in my entire sexually active life, from age 19 to now, those 20 plus years, 2 times have gotten into a prone position, into a bed with a girl, and bailed out, pulled the ejector seat at the last minute. One time in college, when both were really nice, pretty girls, but I just wasn't into it.
Wait, both?
No, both times. No, separated by 20 years.
Damn, Bryan, a baller.
15 years, I guess.
I had a cute girl who was super hairy, like her whole body had a lot of hair on it. It was like, you don't really find that out until it gets to that phase.
Wow.
That was tough.
You powered through?
That was the deal. Well, she was the one who, when going out to dinner was a big deal, and when going out to eat, a date was a big, told you I'd go work on this guy's restaurant or whatever. We went to a real high-end pizza place back when they had like these boutique whatever, and she ordered fucking clams on her half of the pizza. Not smoked oysters or anything, just flat out clams.
Wow. Gross.
And I was like, don't do it. Don't do it, And she's like, I want clams. And I'm like, okay, you're going to have 1 slice, maybe 2 slices. I'm definitely bringing home what's left, and I don't want it covered with clams. And she's like, I'm getting clams. So that was a little bit of a...
That's gross.
That was gross.
I literally just remembered that these 2 girls, separated by a decade and a half or so, were friends. They were college friends, and the second one, cute, fun. Just I got to that point. Gina, you'll respect this. We got into it. We're making out, whatever. And at a certain point, I'm like, shit. I'm older at this point, right? I'm like a little more self-aware. I'm like,
is this fat Bryan?
No. This
Bryan?
is right for
Which
Christy.
Bryan
This is right for Christy.
This is in his prime, Bryan.
Yeah, this is my apartment. Yeah, this would have been probably a year and a half or 2 years before I met Christy, and I'm doing well at this point. And I physically, and I remember thinking, like, as it's getting heated up, like, this girl's way more into it than I am, into this like whole thing, and like she might be like thinking about a relationship, and that's just not. And because she was a friend who I'd known since college, I was like, I can't. This would make the whole dynamic weird.
So what'd you do?
And I want to know what the breaker. I mean, cute, funny. Yeah. Interesting. Folks didn't have any real estate on Balboa Island, perhaps. Was that the deal breaker there? You need prime waterfront real estate?
That's just a vibe thing.
Yeah, okay.
I wish I could explain
it.
So
how did you extricate yourself?
This is 13, 14 years ago. If I remember correctly, I was just like, we can't do this. And I explained, we're friends or, blah, 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 the whole thing. But it was awkward. It was awkward. And
you know what she thought. She thinks that you like saw her boobs or something and they looked weird. That's what she thinks.
I hope not.
Yeah, but see, that's just the problem. She's scarred.
Right.
She remembers the story in graphic detail.
She's married to a kid.
Dawson, you ever kick anyone out of bed for eating crackers?
Lots of times. more often. I've just been through with it.
I knew it.
Today.
I'm shocked.
Lisa Loeb amongst the fallen?
Yeah. One time, the chick answered the door, tremendously overweight, smoking, and holding a baby.
Yeah.
And that one was easy to leave. I just say, hey, you know what? Shit, I totally forgot. I got this thing. I promised my friend I'd help him move.
You weren't able to suss that out in advance, the baby?
No, that one was a chick calling the radio station. You learned that lesson once. You learned that
Who
lesson
among us hasn't been there?
Right.
And then one time, I was working a festival that has to do with a green pitted fruit, and my friend told this one chick that was like 15 years older than me, hey, you should hook up with Dawson, and her face wasn't great, but she had an okay body,
butterface,
and I ended up feeling like I was being dragged into this, like I had to go through with it. I ended up paying for a hotel room for both of us. And she like came out of the bathroom in all this lingerie and shit. And I'm like, all right, well, you have a nice body. I'll turn off the light. But as soon as that was done, I was like, I got to go.
So you went through with that one.
And then there's plenty more, but it usually, it happens when you're around 25 to 30. And usually the girl's 45 to 48.
Wow.
Yeah. It's tough to say no to. You're like, I don't want to. And think of this. What if Urban Meyer did push her off and then she fucking turned around and caused this huge fucking scene in the bar?
Yeah, he assaulted her.
Yeah.
Essentially.
So,
yeah.
It's like you're kind of stuck.
I'm glad to know all this though, because God knows, as women, we all have the stories of we just went through it. We don't hurt the guy's feelings. You guys do that. Interesting. You find a way to
benevolent.
Wow. Oh, God bless you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. All the ladies thrown out of bed.
I had one that I wanted to work out that didn't work out, which was. When I was in my one-bedroom apartment, gal came over who was sort of community property.
Excuse me?
I don't know. She was just like the gal who had just sort of slept with everybody and whatever.
Was she like an Acme person?
We all know her.
No, she was just, this was early 20s. And this is kind of the,
town pump.
Yeah, the town pump. And, she showed up, and roommates started getting it on the fold-out sofa, and I was like in the bedroom, and I was like, I think she'd be up for a three-way, So,
couple of fives.
I came out of the bedroom and just started rubbing her down a little bit, and it was like, oh, this is on, and then there was a knock on the door. And the door was in the same room we're in because we're in a one-bedroom apartment, and it was the other town whore, but the hot one.
Oh,
and she was looking
plot twist.
She was looking for my other roommate who obliged all the gals. She was doing like a late night booty call.
Oh wow!
And it was like Saturday night, like 2 a.m, and I was like, well, he ain't here, but I'm here. She's like, all right,
nice to meet you. I'm sloppy second.
In a storm, and I just left. I left what I had. I left the threesome on the table.
Wow.
Walked right out, jumped in her Jeep, went back to her house and fucking talked all night. Didn't get so much as a handy.
Sad
didn't work out.
Oh, that is very sad.
I've one more, and this is probably my best ever.
Chris, we need a whole staff poll here because I want all the stories of all the dudes who have been in these uncomfortable Urban Meyer type situations.
So I'm in college and living in Isla Vista, and we had a party that night at my house, and towards the end of the party, I grabbed this one girl and bring her back into my room and close the door, and immediately there's knocks on the door, and my buddy's like, dude, you do not want to do this.
You're making me think of you're making me think of a story.
This is crazy.
I say, get out of here, man. Fuck off. I'm doing this. And I did it, and then I woke up the next morning and realized what I had done.
Oh, gremlin.
And so I kind of rolled over gruffly and pretended I was, wake her up. She gets up out of bed, and I hear her. We had bunk beds, and we were on the top.
Oh, my God.
I hear her climb off the bunk bed and go out into the rest of the house, and I'm waiting and I'm listening for when she's going to leave because I'm going to run and lock the door. So
Jesus,
I'm waiting there in bed, and I start hearing pots and pans.
Oh,
moving in.
Say thank you.
I'm like, this has got to end. I got roommates. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning. This cannot happen. And so I yell, What are you doing? And from the kitchen, she yells, making breakfast. How do you like your coffee? And I wait. About 30 seconds goes by and I yell, black, and make yours to go. Then there's another 15-second pause, and you hear pots and pans just fly across the kitchen, a door open and slam. And I ran to the door and I locked it and I went back to bed.
I like that you treat her like that guy in Florida was treating the gator on his lawn. Like, ran her, rushed her with a trash can. Get her out the door. I mean, that's like what happens when a bat flies in your house through the chimney, right? You open the door and you get a broom.
Yeah,
you start swinging it.
Just open every window.
All right, we need more of this. So everyone's got one of these. We've stumbled onto some gold here.
We can push Baldywood.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I like the idea of the Urban Meyer, but maybe we'll just put them together and call it the like when you're saying to the guy, like, I need you to leave, or I'm not going to have sex with you.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Dawson's story had it all. It was great, but the after you have sex, less interesting than the before you have sex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who's turned down the most? Yeah. Interesting. Also, I will tell you a story about, I have done the semi-sober roommate, like I saw what you just dragged into my living room, you two, and I'm going to intervene. I'm going to save you from yourself. I'm going to have a talk with you right now, because this is not, you will thank me. Did not work out, but I'll tell you about that one. First, I'll tell you about Ultimate Ears. Man, you use tech every day. Well, everyone uses tech every day. You rely on your devices so much. Easy to forget the hardware you were born with. Your ears, unless you pay thousands for high-end custom-fit equipment, your earbuds probably cause discomfort. True. Pain. True. UE, Ultimate Ears, fits true wireless. Custom fit earbuds from Ultimate Ears. Premium sound, all day comfort. You mold it yourself. It's easy to do. You can do it. I mean, I've had these things professionally made when you get an IFB or whatever. The guy has to come in and it's a tech has to do it. Now you can just do it all at home. Guaranteed to fit perfect in 60 seconds, 8 hours of continuous listening. Please treat yourself to some Ultimate Ears, right, Dawson?
We use these, and they are awesome. For a limited time, get 15% off your pair of UE Fits. True wireless earbuds at UE.com/fits. Just use promo code Adam at checkout. This 15% off with promo code Adam at UE.com/fits.
All right. Well, possible Baldywood, but for sure a bunch of stories from the staff about turning away the punani right after this. Emmy's got stories. Max Apatis, sure to be chock-a-block filled with stories of rejecting the and
look at everybody filing in.
Everyone's filing in. Well, you know, you want a story or two,
right?
Otherwise, it doesn't seem like a life well led. Are we going with Gary first? Are we going with Chris?
Let's get mine out of the way because it's not very good. Just
that's a tease.
I mean, there was a girl who was really feeling it and was putting the hard full court press on all night, and I had to just basically disappear from this bar.
Why did you do that?
Wasn't feeling it.
And you were single, ready to mingle?
Yeah.
Wow. Wasn't feeling it. That means she wasn't hot. Correct. Or you just took a transcontinental flight and beat off in your own private pod.
Beat pod.
There are, do not underestimate the pre-heading out jack, ladies.
What do you mean?
I mean, some guys will rub one out on a Saturday night, like, you know, at 7 p.m.
You can't go out there with a loaded gun
and head out, and that takes a little
I mean, I guess it's a good idea.
It's a little like eating before you go to the party,
right?
Like
yeah,
the hors d'oeuvres will pass
now
by.
You're talking my language.
Grab on them,
right?
Yeah,
I had a weird, creepy old boss at the grocery store named Jerry Butler, and he used to give us young kids, we were all in high school, right? 15, 17 years old, whatever. He would give us dating advice, and he goes, you gotta rub one out before you go on a date. I'm like, what? Really? He's like, those girls? He wasn't laughing at me. He goes, they can smell that poison on you.
The fuck?
Jerry Butler was also the name of a blues. Was a porn star. I think wasn't Jerry Butler a blues guitarist or something? Too?
Not this Jerry Butler.
You mean the grocery bagger Jerry Butler?
Is it true you can smell semen inside a guy's sack?
This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Okay.
I mean, that mix of like chlorine and pineapple juice, really can't smell it through the jeans.
Interesting. So, Gary, had you rubbed one out before you headed out?
No, she just wasn't hot. And Jerry Butler was definitely a pop and R&B person.
Different Jerry Butler.
This guy wasn't very hip.
Yeah, by the way, when guys say weren't feeling it, that's kind of code for chick not hot.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Being a little hotter would have made us feel it.
Right. Max, Pat, I'm interested in, I mean, you got to keep it to a baker's dozen because
he was on the road with you.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, okay, so one time, most of the times I say no is because it's just a moral thing, like I'm with somebody and I don't want to.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, I'm faithful. But like one time, this is kind of funny. We were at Carolla Drinks bar crawl.
Shit.
And this girl comes, saddles herself up next to me, and Jen is like in the distance. And she's like, so she puts her hand on my leg and she just goes, so how long have you been with her? And I go, about 2 years. And then she squeezes my thigh and whispers into my ear, oh, well, I've been listening to you on the podcast for 5.
Oh,
Trumps it.
Grandfathered in.
Yeah, she peed on his territory.
She had a point.
So yeah, no choice.
Yeah, I had to walk away from that one.
Did you tell Jen?
No, this will be the first time she hears it.
Oh my.
The beauty of women is they have the ability to get pissed off about stuff you didn't do.
Yeah.
Which is a very interesting wiring. You know, like how many times you said to a woman, like, I was going to do this, but I didn't do it. And they go, you were doing what?
Why would you think about doing that?
Yes.
In a weird coincidence, tangentially related, I guess, to that, we were at do you remember, this was fucking back in the radio days. We were doing a live show at the Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood. It was sponsored by, like, I think it was Hornitos, maybe? Or
it was probably Hornitos.
Totally remember this. Yes, it was
Hornitos. It was outdoors by the pool. There were girls swimming and like mermaids, and it was a whole thing. And it was Hollywood crowd, and there was this good-looking girl who was I would say from my experience, aggressively making eyes at me. Like she was like kind of waving and like giving the nod and everything. I'm like, oh, but Christy was at the show. Christy was there. We were dating. It was the radio days again, about 07, 08, whatever it was. And after the show, I can see this good-looking girl who's been looking at her, sort of non-verbally communicating with me all night, coming towards the stage to meet afterward. We didn't do a meet and greet back in those days, right? So just coming towards the stage. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And of course, here comes Christy, the exact same moment, and they meet. And I go, oh, Christy, this is a nice young lady who came to the show, and she looks at her and she goes, Cheryl? It was a girl she knew from high school.
Wow.
Coincidentally, a girl she knew from high school. It was very nice, but I was like, oh, this is going to be
Did you do the back off boogaloo?
No. They were friends. They played volleyball together.
I thought that part of that story was going to go a different route because if you remember, there were 5 or 7 porn chicks there.
Were there?
Yeah.
At the Roosevelt?
No recollection of this.
Yeah.
The also, so women will tell guys all the time, I had this guy was hitting on me, he's so gross, he's a friend, but he always gross, he's always hitting on me. And guys take that and go, oh, you're attractive. Like that's what guys do. It's not a two-way street. You can't tell women other women hit on. They get angry at you for being born or not being fat. Like, I don't know what it is.
Remember Sunny Lane?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to extricate myself from that room.
Really? Do you remember her parents?
I remember that her parents supported her and even managed her.
That is true.
Managed her career.
That is 100% true. Brian, you okay?
With Brian.
Do you remember your parents?
They were something special.
Oh yeah.
You weren't down. I'm sure you, because whenever she would come in, her parents would come in.
And then you're standing next to her, and then she'd start to leaning into you and looking at, and I'm like, I got work to do. Wow. I ran away.
Yeah. And also there's an element too where guys, there's some performance involved.
What do you mean?
Well, you got to get a boner. And if you ain't into it.
In layman's terms, Gina, yeah.
Well, here's all I'm saying. If somebody said, I know it's a cliche, but if someone said, hey, you got to bang your grandma, you'd go, I can't do it, couldn't get a boner. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these chicks are somewhere in between grandma and a 10.
But you have other appendages.
Not really.
Yes, you have 11 like that I can count.
Digits and things.
Give her the old red reaver.
That's right.
I mean, like you know, if you're really trying to stick around without.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, we got to be into it.
Yeah.
Or some guys. Look, I had a high school friend named Tom. That guy was just into whatever. Like
God bless.
He'd be with some chick that was a train wreck, you know, and I'd go, "How was it?" And he'd go, "Yeah, it was fine. I mean, you know, her breath was really bad, and she had a lot of back knee, but you know, it's fine." Like there were those dudes who just go in.
Wow.
Oh yeah. We should figure that out too. I'm not that guy, but there are those guys. No.
Oh.
No, but he got with a lot of hot chicks, but he wasn't that guy.
These guys cast a wide net.
Yeah, very wide net.
Interesting.
But it needs to be wide.
Max Pate, throw anyone out of bed for not eating shrimp tails?
No, because that's more for me.
Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah.
The only time as a woman I can recall being rejected like that, and women don't forget. So
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying with Urban Meyer. Like it's scars.
Right. So I was friends with this guy, kind of had a thing for him right when I moved here. And I just decided that night we were hanging out, I decided I am just full court press, making my intentions very known. He was like backing off and being kind of weird. And
Who's this homo?
Thank you. So I finally was like, all right, I felt so rejected. I was so embarrassed. I left. And then like a couple years later, he's like, hey, remember me? Sorry. It was weird because I kind of had this on again, off again on girlfriend. I'm like, fuck you. No way. So, you know, that door often shuts behind you.
Oh, I got a pro story. I was at the chick, you can look her up.
Oh, boy.
She played the actress in Private Parts. She played the chick who got in the bathtub with Howard Stern.
Okay, yeah, she was Foxy.
She was cast to be Foxy.
Yeah.
I was at Kathy Griffin's holiday party, and that chick walked up to me, and she's like, Kathy Griffin used to live up in the hills of Hollywood, or maybe still does, and we were like standing out in the deck, and she was just like pointed at her house. She goes, I live there. We can go there.
Damn.
And I was in a relationship, so I didn't. But that was a hot chick.
Yeah.
Who's was professionally hot, cast to be a hot actress.
Certified hot.
It was right about the time, and then we were a little bit later 90s, something like that. But it was also at that party where Margaret Cho pulled me aside and apologized for coming on to me sexually. So I must have been giving off some musk or something back then. Yeah.
So I know you probably don't remember, but as a woman, we want to know, what did you say to her to get out of it?
The hot chick from the Howard Stern movie?
Like, how did you decline that?
You know, the thing about women is their whole thing is they can't really get caught going full, like I'm going to grab for your honker and shove it in my mouth or something. Like they have to be a little more
discreet.
Like you live in the hills. I don't know. You should. Used to be a car.
Right.
I'm thinking about doing a remod. When you want to come by and you can take a look, they'll lay it out there. You will know what it is.
Right.
And if you go like, oh, it's getting late, or something like that, they'll lay it out.
Right.
But she laid it out about as much as you lay it out, but you can always go, oh, I'm going to talk to Kathy. And it's went back in there.
Well, I got memories just flooding back now.
God.
Melanie Good was her name, right? Is that her?
Yeah.
Should have banged her.
More often than not, I have a girlfriend works. You just say that.
Yeah.
But speaking of grabbing your honker, I was 14 working as a volunteer at a summer camp.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And one of the older camp counselors, she was 18, 19, 20, I don't know. She was Amazonian. She's a big woman. And anytime I was in the same vicinity of her, she would pin me up against a wall, corner me, grab my junk.
That's
statutory
rape.
and start kissing me.
Wow.
And I'm like half flattered and half terrified.
Yeah.
And the way I got out of it was I told on her.
Good. She's a predator.
Wow.
I don't think she got prosecuted or anything, but I told on her. She got fired.
There's guys lined up on
I
Dawson.
don't think I would have told on her. Dawson doesn't feel like you.
I couldn't be around her. Like and it was limiting my 2-week experience as a volunteer at this day camp.
Poor girls molested.
And I couldn't do the things I wanted to do, so I had to run away from her all the time. I'm like, no, this is bullshit. I'm not running away.
Wow.
Couldn't do tie-dye.
Max, Patty, you got another one?
Yeah, I don't know if this counts, but one time I was at a club and a girl knocked my drink out of my hand while we were dancing. So she brings me to get another, and we end up hitting it off. And she says she wants to go home. She wants me to go home with her. And I said, sure. And then she proceeds to take me to the corner to introduce me to her husband and says, this guy's going home with us.
Wow.
And that's when I said, I'm good.
Maybe she wanted to adopt you.
Wow. So there were a couple out They were swingers.
Yeah.
Out cruising.
Yeah.
She definitely knocked that drink out on
Cut
purpose.
to that dance floor.
so.
Honey, here's the move. You knocked the drink out of his hand.
Worst cuckolding video ever.
Yeah,
Filipino midget mounts my
This guy was
naughty
huge,
wife.
too. He's a big
really?
dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like buff, not fat.
No, that's probably discretion is the better part of valor.
Yeah.
I think that applies there.
That was in that movie Permanent Midnight, right?
Yeah,
And,
Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller screwed the guy's wife, and then the guy just beats the shit out of Ben Stiller when it was over. That was their thing.
Fun
Look, there's
movie.
still a
Chris, you
line out the
dodged a
door.
bullet. You could have gotten the crap.
Oh,
out of
yeah.
it.
Let's, Rhino, intern Ryan. Who's next? I can't see through
There's,
the
I
window.
think
Who's
there's
next?
Emmy and there's Kaylin.
All right. Let's hear it.
I'll take it. So one I can remember is freshman year of college, like one of my first fraternity parties. Like a bunch of girls came in, they were all freshmen from another sorority, and like one of them came up to me and was like, "Oh, like, can I kiss you? Like it's part of our like whatever sorority thing, and we're supposed to go kiss a thigh sort of thing." And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And I was pretty drunk with my friends, did that, and she just immediately went into like, let's go back. Like, let's go back to let's go back to our dorms. And I was kind of like, okay, I mean, I'm definitely down, but also like my friends were peer pressuring me like, dude, come on, it's the beginning of the night. Like, what the hell? Like, oh, there's so many girls here, whatever. And so I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, oh, I can call an Uber. And I was like, you know what? I got it. I'll call an Uber. Cut to the Uber.
What'd she look like?
She was like a Santa Barbara 7.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
It's a Modesto 4.
Not bad. But so,
No, it's a Modesto
10.
10.
My bad. Went
It's
the
like
wrong way.
Kansas 48.
How dare you?
But anyway, I was pretty drunk, so just my memory, like 15 seconds later, immediately I start forgetting. And my friends, whatever, I'm with my friends, get another drink. All of a sudden, another girl comes up, starts talking to me. I look over. She's in the Uber, and we make just direct eye contact as I'm talking to another girl, and the car just drives away. And I just Ubered her home by herself at the beginning of the night, and then she like blacklisted me from that sorority, I swear, for like 3 months. Told everyone I was a huge douche.
Yeah, hell hath no fury. It's true. A lot of quotes coming out of my mouth today. Yeah, Emmy, what happened?
All right, I've got two. We'll start off with the least interesting one. I also had a fur booty one, and I was willing to push through.
Oh, what?
Hairy ass?
Hairy ass.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll tell you, look, there are women out there that have some hair on them.
When you say hair, you don't mean just in places you have hair, it's like dark. You mean places women don't normally have hair?
Like her butt cheeks.
Right.
Yeah, not like long
the
flowing
wax,
locks
yeah.
on like a shampoo commercial.
I said like hairy legs, or are we talking like I've never heard of a fur booty before.
Women come in different sort of strains of hair. Some are, they're like dogs, there's the hypoallergenic ones or something. There's some non-hairy women. Some women got a little hair on them.
Wow.
I was willing to push through. I was willing to push through on her, but then she started telling me about it, and then she started giving me excuses like, "Oh, I get it from my dad," and that was just a boner killer.
Stop talking.
She was talking about her hairy ass?
Yeah, because she felt bad. She was super self-conscious about it, so she wanted to explain it.
Or wax.
That was just a no for me.
Wow.
Yeah, but you couldn't find out until it was kind of too late.
Yeah.
It's got to be weird for her, like knowing there's this secret that shall be revealed at some point.
Yeah.
But I also feel like there's ways to take care of that these days.
That's why you want to get a hand down there early.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, has she never heard of Pink Cheeks on Ventura Boulevard?
Exploratory. Well, he's been in New York probably.
Oh,
Yeah.
New York, yeah.
But with the beer and the cigarette, how do you do the hand? You tell her to hold your cigarette because that's the warm hand?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Don't
lip.
do the beer hand. That's cold.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, so her pants went down, my pants went right back up.
Okay.
And then my second one,
lyric.
my second one was more of a. She was into like choking and stuff, and
So?
no, it was fine. But then she had said things like, I want you to put me through the wall. She had said like, I like it hard and rough and all that. But then when she started telling me
was she dating that Dodger pitcher?
I don't know. She was a rocker girl.
Yeah.
So then when she started describing her choking, I was like, all right, yeah, I'm down for that. And then she started telling me that she likes to go purple.
Oh, no.
That was a no.
You're going to be brought up on charges.
Yeah, there's going to be a chalk body outline.
Yeah.
I also feel like that's the kind of thing you work into.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's
up.
the third session, not the opening night.
Or was this like a first date thing?
No, we had gone on a day before. I just
Okay.
didn't seal the deal then.
Interesting.
A lot of women into a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so there's two dangers for me.
Sometimes I think, sometimes I think women think that's what guys want, but they don't really want that. So like they'll do that the first time, but then there won't be any more of that. But it sounds like in Emmy's case, that's what she was into.
Well, as I think about it, it's kind of catch-22-y because if you're a woman who wants to be choked, you should want to be choked by a guy who doesn't want to choke you.
Amen.
If you got a guy who's like, done
Itching
and
to
done,
choke.
I brought my choking gloves, like that guy's going to take you out.
Yeah.
You don't want the guy who's too enthusiastic about choking you.
Absolutely. Ladies, are you listening?
We got
I was
one.
definitely down to put her through the wall, but definitely not down to choke her.
Did you get like violent, a little rough with her? Because she wanted it.
Yeah. She waited until we were pretty much going at it to explain the purple part, and that's when I pulled out and left.
That's smart. Wow. You did the right thing.
Yeah. I was at a bar in Manhattan.
And we tried to stab her.
And there are two hot chicks in there that I think said, you want to come back to our room and watch us?
Oh.
Yeah.
How neighborly.
I know.
Charitable.
What happened?
I'm trying to think. I remember I was in a relationship, so I was like, I'll go back to your room, but I can't watch or something. I have a vague recollection of something, but I didn't do anything and nothing really came of it. But they were like, yeah.
Wow.
We'll do this for you.
You wouldn't even watch.
I just remember a situation in college where someone else ruined it. Inadvertently, what happened was there was this girl. We were at a fraternity event. I was a sophomore. She was a freshman, and she was, for whatever reason, we met that night. She was into me. She thought I was great. She was all over me. For whatever reason, God knows why. A little bit of hair left, and we're dancing the whole night, whatever. And at one point, one of her sorority sisters, the older one, comes up to me and goes, "Hey, this girl, she's only been on campus. The semester just started, 2 weeks in. She goes, she slept with like 10 guys. Like, I'm really worried about her." And I'm like, God damn it!
No.
So of course, the night progresses. We get into my room, blah blah, and I can't. I have to put a stop to the whole thing.
That girl hates that other girl and totally mind fucked you because that girl wronged her in some way. Can you imagine? She didn't give a shit about her.
Wait a minute. That sounds like something for Nancy Grace to complain about.
Okay, here's this guy who finally gets the hot chick. Well, first of all, that's a red flag.
Well, that's hurtful.
Now there's this beautiful girl who's interested in him, and all of a sudden
things were going great.
I'm sure they were. All of a sudden, some girl, some helpful citizen,
friend of hers,
some good Samaritan, comes up to you for no reason and basically says, "Hey, my friend's a slut. Oh my God, I'm worried about her." Gets inside your head, young man. You're plastic. You had the yips.
Couldn't throw the ball from second base to first base.
You had the twisties.
That's right.
That soft, malleable brain. You start thinking about it. She poisoned you. And you know why? That girl probably killed her boyfriend.
It is interesting because every dude who just heard that story was like, oh, that girl's looking out for the other girl. But
No.
Gina,
No, absolutely
a completely different filter.
She mind fucked you so bad. So that girl, now A, she wasn't going to have a good night. And B, you're in your head, some new guy that she has a reputation. Now you're going to go tell everybody. I'm mad at you now.
Spoken of the event.
Very, very. It's interesting.
Wow. Women are insidious.
It's calculating.
I never thought about that.
It's like when they have to interview a serial killer to find out what a serial killer's doing. You know what I mean? Like Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
I feel like that's what we just did with you.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to feel about that, but I promise you that's what happened.
All right. Well, our guest is Jessica here.
Not yet.
Because then I want to ask her if she's been on the losing end of this.
I think she might be in a relationship with a lady.
Oh.
So that could add another element. Right?
Yeah.
That changes things.
Keep peeling this onion. All right, let me tell you about Stamps.com. Sell online, do you? Then, shipping's a pain. Which carrier am I going to get? Am I going to get the best rate? Will it get there on time? Stamps.com takes the hassle and the guesswork out of shipping e-commerce orders. Easily compare shipping rates and delivery rates. Stamps.com negotiated discount rates from the U.S. Postal Service, UPS, DHL, and more, up to 40% off U.S. Postal Service and 66% off of UPS rates as well. I've used it here for over a decade. We send out all our merch and our books and the paperwork. We always use Stamps.com. Stamps.com automatically connects you to your online, or I should say connects to your online store. So all you have to do is print shipping labels, stick them on your packages, schedule a pickup, drop off. No traffic, no lines at Stamps.com. Good news, we have a Baldywood chambered as well. And we can do that right after this.
Featuring Gina Grad.
Thank you.
This edition of Baldywood. I could use a soprano super fan for a little perspective. The Many Saints of Newark. Full title, The Many Saints of Newark, a soprano story, is in theaters now. It's also streaming on HBO Max. This is directed by Alan Taylor, and it stars Alessandro Nivola, Vera Farmiga, Leslie Odom Jr., John Bernthal, Corey Stoll, who is fantastic.
Ray Liotta.
Ray Liotta is the next name out of my mouth. Gina plays at the pro singer. And, of course, Michael Gandolfini. This is currently sitting at 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. And like I said, streaming on HBO Max. I don't know how you felt, Gina. So let's just say overall, this is not a direct prequel, but it's a throwback story, right?
An origin story of
origin
sorts.
story of sorts. It's about it's less about young Tony Soprano than it is about the Dickie Moltisanti story, Christopher Moltisanti's father. I imagine, Gina, you're aware there's a lot of debate in the Sopranos fan circles. What happened to Dickie? How come we never saw him? How come we never heard of what happened to him?
And that's not a spoiler. In the series, it's very well known and put out there that Chrissy never really met his father because he was killed mysteriously when Chris was a baby. So they do a little bit of guessing, but that's all the series will tell you.
This movie lays out that story. So I guess that begs the first question, Gina. Do you think this works as a standalone story? You obviously got a lot out of it being, how many times have you seen the series?
Well, we're working on 30 now.
Okay. So, wow. I saw it once all the way through, and even I was like, okay, I think there's characters here who I should know, or I should know from the series, or references, Easter eggs.
Yes.
As a standalone movie, I thought it was okay, but what did you think as a super Sopranos fan?
As a super Sopranos fan, I don't know how someone who's never seen the series could get any enjoyment out of this movie. This movie seemed more like a love letter to diehard fans from chock-a-block with Easter eggs, with little nods, with the actual story when you would just hear them, in passing. Like, for instance, there's the part in the series where Tony's sister Janice talks about how their father shot a gun through their mom's beehive hairdo because she wouldn't stop complaining. Well, they show that scene.
Happens, yeah.
And, so lots of it was like a gift to fans in that way, but I don't know how you would follow this movie if you didn't watch the series.
As a movie, as a standalone movie, it's kind of unsatisfying.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff thrown up there that never resolves. Like, I don't know why. I don't know what trying to avoid spoilers, but was Leslie Odom Jr.'s character a simple red herring the whole time, or is he important in the story, the canon of Sopranos? Because he has no bearing on the events of the movie.
So in the Sopranos series, every time Tony harkens back to his childhood, it's for whatever reason, it's within the backdrop of the riots going on in Newark.
That was a big part of it.
Yeah, the mom saying, take a baseball bat with you, see what they're doing on Belmont Avenue. And you see that. And so this movie explores that a little bit. It broadens it just a bit. We don't know as Sopranos fans why Leslie Odom Jr.'s character was there.
Unless they're planting seeds for future installments.
Well, let me tell you this, because I think, like it or don't like it, the ultimate compliment is it left everyone wanting more. And we might get more because apparently, well, David Chase, within the last week, signed like a 5-picture deal or a 5-year first look deal with HBO.
Here's the caveat to it left everyone wanting more. If the more was during the time they were watching the movie, then that's a different kind of wanting more.
There's a cliffhanger, and there's I wish this movie was more.
Well, but here's
Which one did you want?
The movie felt thin. You know what I mean? Like very thin.
Dawson's nodding over there.
I think the movie lacked substance. I like all the Easter eggs and everything, but my immediate reaction with it was I love The Sopranos and I want more and more and more of this. When I finished this movie, I thought, oh, we're fucked. They're never doing this again.
Well, it's funny because when I saw it in the movie theater at 10 a.m. on Friday, Andy and I were just over the moon. It was the greatest thing we'd ever seen. Fuck anyone who disagrees. I was going hard on Twitter. And then we watched it again at home. We were like, it's really good. It's good. It's really good. But we weren't over the moon like we were in the movie theater.
In my opinion, it's objectively a good movie.
Yes.
No one can say it's this sucks or it's terrible. What would be more surprising to you? Someone or you had a conversation with someone and they said, number one, that movie sucked, I hated it. Or number two, that was the greatest, it's an instant classic. Like someone who loved it or hated it.
Well, it's interesting
because it's right there in the middle.
But a lot of people, because a lot of people came out, fuck that movie, I hate that movie. And first of all, I got triggered when people did that because you know how much I was so excited. But they're right, because people had these huge expectations, and as Dawson said, when it felt a little thin, there was this disappointment factor you couldn't shake.
Well, how'd the people have it? Because that's an interesting Rotten Tomatoes. We should always find that or have that nearby.
I bet you it's
higher than Rabbit Test.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
I bet it's right around 75.
I bet it's lower than the critic score because a lot of casual people could see it on HBO who don't really know a lot about The Sopranos.
Yeah,
what the fuck is this?
I wouldn't recommend that. I'll tell you, the casting was incredible to the point where Michael Gandolfini, not even the best casting in the movie.
I for some reason was flipping around the channels last night around midnight, and Serpico came on. Al Pacino Serpico was on. You don't remember 58 with the audience, by the way.
There you go. Boy.
You don't remember, first off, how slow these 70s movies were. It's like Serpico. It's like there's not that. First off, lots of scenes of them just sitting in an apartment talking to their girlfriend for like long periods of time. Like there were no hurry at all. And then also, I challenge or I offer. Watch one of these movies that took place in New York City in like 1973 and see what a crazy, depressed shithole that place
Taxi
was.
Driver.
That's a whole era of cinema.
Yeah.
Every car's just got shit shooting out of the tailpipe, smoke. It's always like everything is broken down. Everything looked like, well, it had quite a heyday in the 30s or the 40s, but this is 1973. Like, people forget how busted up these cities were, Baltimore and New York and all. I mean, they'd all had their prime in the 40s and the 30s, and the guys were coming home from World War II.
Even San Francisco and Popeye Doyle, the French Connection.
French Connection. By the time Was that San Francisco?
I'm almost positive.
Or was that Chicago? They had the above,
L.
They had the L in there somewhere. We got to see.
No,
anyway,
I blacked out the French Connection. I hated that movie.
The
Oh,
point.
really? Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Bullet.
The point. Yeah, maybe it's Bullet. No, the point is American cities in the mid 70s were broken down, and I mean they were dirty and they were dank and it was fucked up. They didn't have homeless, which is kind of interesting, but I mean you'd see them walking down the street in Manhattan,
Square?
and it's like
gross.
everything was just gross and weird, and it was, and also the tones were like. Cars were avocado green and burnt orange, and everyone just everyone dressed down, and it was just a weird kind of bummer. I mean, it was for you guys aren't old enough. I kind of lived through it. It's like the whole color palette was a bummer. The architecture was a bummer. Like they shot them like intentionally. The film looked gray and orange and stuff. It was like it was always dank and overcast, and it was really depressing. Like people go back and look at some of those movies that were shot then. There
Even
was
Harold and Maude, the color palette. You're so right about that.
There weren't any P.F. Chang's anywhere in any of these shots or things for kids.
No TGI Fridays anywhere.
Some sad
the M&M
diners.
store was not featured. Like it was just but it was considered
cold coffee shop.
It was considered gritty.
Yes,
it was almost like this is like if you're a rapper, you got to sing about the hood. This is like if you're gonna make a real movie, it's got to be gritty and depressing and shitty.
Well, it's funny you should say that because I definitely noticed the cinematography in this movie really is beautiful, and like the color palettes they use. I'm sure, Brian, you have some thoughts on Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta's.
Okay. He was there.
It's almost a spoiler, so we'll just leave it at that. But I did pull a clip because I know most of us were like, oh, we want more young Tony. We want more. Well, there's a great scene with young Tony, played by James Gandolfini's son, Michael, and Vera Farmiga as the just sort of dour and depressed and always yelling at everyone, Livia Soprano. This is setting up the scene. He's always in trouble at school, and she gets dragged into the principal's office, and the principal or the guidance counselor says to her, like, basically, something he told me, one of his best memories in the world is the one time that you got in bed with him and read him a book. And that's his best memory. And so it kind of makes her think, oh, okay, well, I'll dip my toe into being a better mother. She makes him a burger. She has a nice dress on. She's trying to be nice to him. And then it's revealed that they don't go to their family doctor anymore because he tried to push some pills on her. And because, she's depressive. So this is what happens.
It was a real art to picking the clips.
Yeah. That was, I think that was a little... might have been slid the wrong direction, probably my fault. But he gets into this conversation with her like, come on, just try it. Sure. And she is pissed. And that is the relationship of Tony and Livia throughout the entire series.
Yeah.
Some of the other casting.
In Serpico. No, this is probably, what year is this supposed to take place in?
68?
Well, the movie spans like 10 years.
Oh, starting in like the mid-60s?
Yeah. Like late 60s, and then it goes to like the early 70s.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. My thing is, I think the jury's kind of out, but see it so you can have a conversation about it, good or bad.
No,
it's not bad.
But I really do think if David Chase just signed a 5-year first look deal,
he's making a few of these.
This was a dip. This was dipping your toe in. Are people still interested in The Sopranos? And I think the overarching answer to that is yes.
A few last points. One, obviously, the French Connection had that great subway scene. Remember where they're going in and out of the subway car? So not in San Francisco, they don't have a subway. Number two, this movie picks up. Like it starts off a little clunky and clumsy, and it gets better. And like Gina alluded to, they struck gold with Michael Gandolfini. Like that's an impossible role to cast. You know what I mean? Young Tony Soprano, and of course they're blessed because he looks like him and he has a resemblance and the lisp and everything. But he was very good. I was super impressed with him.
All right, outro.
Hooray for Baldywood!
We're gonna give it a grade, Brian.
3 stars out of 5. This is a good movie, but nothing special.
Was the French Connection must have been?
York.
Oh, it's New York.
Yeah.
They had an above ground. Anyway, all right. Well, we got the news coming. First, I'll tell you about Candid. They're specialists for everything: mechanics, roofers, plumbers, and for uneven, crooked teeth. It's called an orthodontist, and Candid is invisible, comfortable, and removable aligners. Poorly reviewed or insanely priced clear aligner companies use general dentists. Candid only works with orthodontists, the same licensed orthodontists who create and prescribe a plan for you from start to finish, and they'll monitor you remotely as well. God, the old clunky metal braces, that's a thing of the past, and food stuck in there. We remember some kids and rubber bands and stuff.
My mom still finds them around the house.
Oh, my God. No, go with Candid. Book an appointment at a Candid studio near you, or do it from the comfort and convenience of your own home. Average treatment is just 6 months. Costs thousands less than traditional braces, and they have teeth whitening as well. Right, Dawson?
Candid can get you the straighter, brighter smile you've always wanted. Right now, you can save $75 on your Candid starter kit when you get started from home, or you can book an appointment at a Candid studio near you today. Go to candidco.com/Adam and use code Adam. That's candidco.com/Adam, code Adam. Take advantage of this limited time offer to save $75 on your starter kit. candidco.com/Adam, code Adam.
Saturday night, like 2 a.m, and I was like, well, he ain't here, but I'm here. She's like, all right.
Nice to meet you. I'm sloppy second.
In a storm, and I just left. I left what I had. I left the threesome on the table.
Wow.
Walked right out, jumped in her Jeep, went back to her house and fucking talked all night. Didn't get so much as a handy.